Okay, turning our attention to our first story, which is from the Dhaka Tribune. The political landscape in Bangladesh is seeing potential turbulence. The headline is President Sahabuddin leaving office. So looking at the image, President Mohammed Sahabuddin is on the front page there. As the report, the paper indicates he is expected to step down soon due to health concerns, with the BNP government reportedly agreeing in principle to the move. To manage the transition smoothly, Speaker of Parliament Hafiz Uddin Ahmad has cut short a visit to Thailand to return home early, as Article 50 requires a formal written resignation to be submitted to the Speaker. This political shift naturally brings our focus towards broader regional security and foreign policy postures in South Asia. And the transition in leadership brings us directly to our second paper of the day, focusing on a robust foreign policy statement coming out of Islamabad. The report outlines how Pakistan has doubled down on its warnings to Yemen's Houthi rebels. Foreign Office spokesperson Tahir Andrabi stated firmly during a weekly briefing that any attack on Pakistani-flagged vessels or maritime interests will be treated as a direct attack on the country, invoking the right to self-defense. While drawing the strict red line for national security, Islamabad has simultaneously reassured Saudi Arabia of its commitment to ensuring the smooth flow of commercial shipping through the critical Bab el-Mandab choke point. So from security choke points in the Middle East, let's look at financial flows and political financing in the United Kingdom. Questions on $9 million crypto received by betting account in name of Farage aid. So questions, this is coming out of the Financial Times. It's highlighting a major financial controversy involving British politics. The headline there is it's related to a betting account that's linked to George Cottrell, a figure who bankrolled Reform UK, the leader, Nigel Farage. He's received nearly $9 million in cryptocurrency. Much of this digital currency was used to back wagers on the US presidential election, yielding multi-million-dollar profits. Questions are now mounting regarding the anonymous sources of these funds, especially as Cottrell has financed staff and travel for Farage, who has also admitted to staying in a luxury London property tied to his associates. So financial scrutiny is matching trade scrutiny globally, leading us to our next major economic update from Washington. Trump sets new tariff to punish use of forced labor, replacing expiring import taxes. So Washington has implemented a 10% tariff on imports from India and over a dozen other nations, following a detailed investigation into forced labor practices. While New Delhi managed to secure a lower rate than initially proposed under the Section 301, this 10% levy puts India on par with nations like Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. US Trade Representative Jameson Greer emphasised that the move aims to address human rights abuses and distortive trade practices worldwide. So these international trade pressures run parallel to intense domestic political alignments that are happening down under in Australia. The Australian is covering the ruling party's national conference. The primary headline, Labour declares a new enemy number one, noting that outgoing ALP President Wayne Swan has warned that one nation has overtaken the coalition as Labour's biggest electoral threat. Turning to the visual coverage of this story, it's a picture of the conference floor, celebratory shots of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese putting his hands up in the air with his colleagues. Now, a parallel headline, divisions on Israel threaten to overshadow Labour's show. It highlights some internal friction over foreign policy debates, demonstrating the heavy balancing act facing party leadership this week. So amid these fiery political debates, public attention is also turning towards urgent environmental crisis. In the UK, front page of The Guardian, Wales on course for driest July in 200 years. The paper is saying that severe droughts, record low river flows and back-to-back heat waves have forced the Welsh government to activate some emergency crisis plans as wildfires continue to burn across parts of Europe. So it's a pretty stark climate warning from the UK, but the picture, very different story. features a surprisingly playful moment. King Charles and Queen Camilla smiling and waving next to a classic blue TARDIS, the police box, during the opening of the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. So, nature and how unpredictable it can be. It leads us on to our final story from, from a story from the China Daily. Rice terrace wakeboarding makes waves. So the image shows athletes there gliding across flooded mirror-like rice paddies in the Zhejiang province, using an electric winch for some extreme sports stunts, by the look of it, over centuries-old farming landscapes. It's got lots of people talking at home and internationally. Okay, now we're going to go to a major political update this morning, which we've spoken about earlier in the show. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has now pledged a robust new law and fast-tracked courts to tackle examination question paper leaks following these very intense student protests and demands. Now, as seen in today's updates from New Delhi, the Cabinet is set to review the draft bill addressing these exam irregularities. Meanwhile, government representatives, including union ministers JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh, are scheduled to meet with protest leaders at the Constitution Club to break the ongoing deadlock.